again, my name is Sam. This is the Bluegrass Martial Arts in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm the head instructor. I want to go over for this next video as introduction some of the things we do for our warm-up or some of the footwork that's involved. Again, we do this every class. It's actually the first thing we do. Before we even do our salutation that starts the class, we usually do our salutation right before we get into the stance set. But before that, we will have already gone through our entire warm-up. So, the warm-up, the way we usually do it is what we call wave drills. So, like the tide, moving from one side of the room to the other in groups, depending on how many of us are at a given class, we'll move from one side of the room to the other and then come back with the same basic, or training the other side of a given basic. So, a lot of footwork. I really focus on footwork. This isn't a class where we stand in more stance and then just, okay, inward block, punch, outward block. You know, we don't waste time doing this, because in a real altercation, in a real fight, you got to be able to move. It's mobile, it's changing all the time, and the idea that you're going to be able to fight somebody off while you're standing still is just ridiculous. So we do a whole lot of footwork with what we're doing, and we start by warming up with that. So the first one I'm going to start with is coming from our neutral bow, and I'm going to give you a profile with this on both sides. You've got the mirror too as well. So from here we call this a step through. Anytime I step, going from neutral bow, as I move forward, stepping into neutral bow from one side to the other. And at the same time my foot plants down, an attack happens of some sort, or attack just has happened if it's a kick. So the first one being a punch. As I step, I punch with the same hand, same foot is hitting on the same side. And that'll feel a little weird because you're stepping and swinging the same arm, and we don't walk that way. Naturally, we counter for the sake of balance. When you step with your left, your right foot swings forward, and vice versa as you walk. Nobody walks like this, right? That's weird. But for fighting, that's very practical, because it turns my entire body bladed to the side, puts all that weight shifting into that attack, and I want a skeletal structure here, that from my front hand, my fist, all the way down into my back leg here, all the way into the floor, is one solid skeletal frame. Because someone can beat muscle, and as we grow older, our muscles start to fade anyway. So in order to be able to pull this off at a young age, at an old age, and at everywhere in between, you want to, if you can, fight with your skeleton. It's a lot harder for somebody to beat a skeletal frame than it is for them to kind of crush or combat if it's just strength against strength. We want to have leverage. In order to create leverage, we've got to have a fulcrum, we've got to have a skeleton, we've got to have a strong frame behind all that. So think more in terms of skeletal frame. As the foot lands, that's when the punch happens. And all the way from my hand down into that back foot here. And as I step, I'll just switch in place. As I step, switch in place, and I pull one side back like I'm drawing a bow, while the other hand's punching forward. But I want my foot to touch down, boom, as my hand hits, like you're stepping on a bug and hitting at the same time. All right? That's the force for the punch. Now the way we usually practice it is we add a kick to it also. Come up with the front kick. So to do the front kick off the back foot, I come up first with the knee. So the knee raises up, lift the knee up, and then from there I'm going to hinge at the knee. I'm going to pull the toes back in order to kick forward. So that I can use the bottom of my foot. Don't want to kick with your toes. Very bad. You'll break your toes if you kick with your toes. Pull the toes back. Use the ball of the foot, that real hard part right behind the toes there, that when you stand on your, when they call it standing on your tiptoes, most of us stand on the ball of the foot. That's that hard part that you can balance on. When we pivot, we're usually turning on the ball of the foot. So from here, I'm going to pull the toes back, bend the knee, boom, kick forward off that back foot. Front kick, and as I plant down, boom, that's when my punch happens. And then we do the other side. I'll front kick. As I plant down, that punch happens here. And we'll use this first one, the step through with the front kick and punch, going all the way down one side of the classroom and coming right back on the other. That's the first of our warm-up basic. Now the second one of our warm-up basic, and this is the one we use the most, is what we call the push drag. from your neutral bow, from your fighting stance here, I want to be mobile again. And moving mobily involves having to shift your weight here. And I'm actually going to flex the stance a little bit also. So what I'm going to do is, using my back foot like it's on a springboard, I lift the front foot up just a little bit. And as I do, I push off the back. And when I push off the back, I'm stepping forward and immediately dragging the back foot behind. That's why it's a push and drag there, footwork. So I step and slide. And I want, as much as the stance flexes, I want it to come back, right back to that neutral bow position and those dimensions of neutral bow every time here. So that way it slides. It's not a jump. I don't want my head bobbing up and down as you move. Your head should stay fairly level as you shoot forward this way. So it's not a jump up, it's a jump forward if it's a jump at all, but think of it more as a slide. Think of springing off the ground but pushing yourself forward that way. Lift the front foot up and then catch yourself on the front foot as you pull the back foot in to meet the front foot. Now, as you do this push drag here, we're going to throw, for the first time, there's several basics we'll do, but the first one we'll do a jab. So front hand and front foot together. Now, are punching straight. Don't get that confused with the step through. Step through, we step and punch together. That's that footwork. This time you're sliding. Lift the front foot, boom. And as you slide, I'm punching out straight ahead. Straight line, reaching out far enough, not so far that you feel it in the elbow. You don't want to hyperextend your elbow. But I want to come out and right back again each time. I don't want to leave it hanging out there. So I'm going to pop, boom, bring it back. Try and bring it back on the same line it goes out. Hand first and follows. In fact, when you get really good at this, you want the push drag to start with your hand. But when it makes contact, it should be foot and hand together. So the hand moves first, but the foot catches up. So that as it lands, as that punch lands, your foot is also moved forward that way. And you can project your weight forward to give it backup mass, to give that jab backup mass. So you slide, boom, and jab. With this one we go down one side, just sliding, boom, punch, we come back with the other side. Now the next one, again with the push drag. We're just going to look at all the push drag ones together. We won't do them in this order, but the next push drag one is our back fist strike. So for the back fist here, I want the hands thinking like you've got a towel rolled up and you're going to snap somebody with the towel. It's a flicking action. It's a whipping action here. So the arm's got to be relaxed, and instead of coming in a straight line like the jab does, it comes up and it hits kind of horizontally going in that way. In fact, when we get to the wheel kick is the back fist with your foot. So you want to be able to hit with the back fist as hard as you could kick. In fact, that's a terminology Bruce Lee would use. He'd say we want to be able to punch with our feet and kick with our hands. So think of this here as a flicking action here. It's all relaxed here and it hinges right at the end. Right at the end of the fist, there's a little crack, whiplash happens that takes those two front knuckles and digs them into whatever you're punching that way. So the arm's got to be relaxed to do this, and it just pops out like so. Now I want to do that with the footwork again. So I lift that front foot up, boom, and I slide and back fist together. This is your fastest hand strike, or it should be. You want to make this a quick crack as you move. We'll again go down all one side, come back on the other. We will also use again that jab, and we'll add a cross punch. Then we'll have to pivot to a forward bow. Keep that back heel down. I see this a lot. People punch and they start to lift that back foot. If you hit something, that force comes back into you, and it's going to drop that heel down. Could cause your wrist to buckle. We don't want any of that stuff happening. So when you pivot, keep that back leg down, front knees bent, back leg straight as you twist and punch. We call that our cross punch. Anytime it comes off the back side, you have to twist in. So you do it with the jab, slide jab, and we add a cross. Jab, we add a cross. We do it with the back fist, slide, we back fist, we add a cross. Back fist, and we add a cross. Now the last one we're going to look at, again with the kick, is the full retreat. This is the push drag going in reverse, right? This will move you forward. You can also move side with the push drag. For the sake of our classes, we tend to just move on a straight line back and forth, just because of space that's necessary. So front to back here, but now push drag going backwards. We call this our full retreat. Full retreat, and the way that works is opposite of the push drag. I'm going to lift the back foot up and push off the toes in the front. That's my springboard now, is in the front. So as I lift the back foot up, I push and drag the front foot towards the back foot now, instead of dragging the back foot up. So again, lift the back foot up, push off the front, that's my push, and then I drag that foot up. There, that's a full retreat. Somebody's too close, you need to get distance quickly. It's an explosive way to stay in your neutral bow, still fighting, or able to fight, but get that distance that you need. Now from here, for our exercise, we use a full retreat coupled with a back kick. So the way that works is, as I do a full retreat, I'm going to turn, twist like I'm getting ready to run, really trying to make a retreat. First with the full retreat, then I twist here. So if my left leg is back in this case, is that full retreat, I'll turn to the left to run. If the right leg's back, turn to the right here to run. Now once I twist, the person that you're running from is too close. We need to get some more distance. Well, we can't do it with footwork now. We're going to kick them off us, and that's where the back kick comes into play. Back kick lifts up, straight up, and I'm using the heel this time. Almost like a horse would kick or a donkey would kick. I'm going to bend the knee, kick straight back with the heel that way, and then twist right back to my neutral bow again. So full retreat, I'm going to turn like I'm getting ready to run. Use the leg that's closest to your opponent now. It's that what was your forward leg, boom, is now the one that's behind you when you turn, and then you turn back again. That's the full retreat, twist, back kick there. And that'll get you good in a sparring context. We have what we call as a cannon side kick at later levels, which fits really well underneath somebody's guard, but often it also fits really well as a defensive kick. Somebody moves in with a push drag. If you match their push drag, you can hit them with a cannon side kick pretty well, under the arm, to the head, whatever. So we're already training that basic, how to do the full retreat and twist in order to launch a kick from the ground up if we need to. And again, keep the knee down on this one. Another thing about the back kick, a lot of people like to turn the foot sideways, and that turns the knee sideways. Keep the knee down, keep the toes down, pull the foot back, stomp back with the heel. That's the back kick. Okay, so full retreat, twist, back kick. All right, so next video will cover a few more of our footworks and some of the attacks that go with them.